Hi, so Kevin and I are back for the Desolate division reviews. Wow, I'm already stumbling over my words and we haven't even started yet. Kevin, say
The
something to
bad
the
division.
audience.
This is the bad division, the slow division.
Certified Kevin moment. I guess on that note, we should probably get started because we're already wasting enough time as is.
Yeah, let's try to do that sub 1 hour.
I seriously doubt it.
We're looking at the time like at the bottom right now, and we managed to hit sub 1 hour or not. We don't know yet.
Yeah, we're... Alright, let's get started. So, our first coach is Psycho, and I think his team is the Gainesville Gardevoirs or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, he drafted Calyrex Ice, Komao, Corviknight, Porygon 2, Mega T-Tar, Salazzle, Durant, Aromatisse, Dusclops, Vaporeon, and Claydol. The first thing that pops out to me is that he kind of went hard on the Trick Room.
Yeah, this team feels really slow, and although you have some fast mons like Salazzle and Durant, these are not like the best mons, and I feel like a lot of your better mons are all just really slow. So I can see this team struggle with that. But hey, that kind of fits the slow division, am I right?
Oh my god, this is gonna be. You're just gonna say this for the entire video, aren't you?
Yes, yes.
I like Calyrex and Como. Like, Calyrex is an amazing mon. I think Como is another amazing mon. I'm just trying to think of like what offensive synergy they have together. Well, I guess Como breaks the steals for Calyrex. That's pretty nice.
Not only does this team feel like slow, it's also really passive, I think.
Yeah,
I don't know
like,
how you feel about that.
P2, well, you can't taunt Aromatisse. P2, Dusclops, Vaporeon, Claydol. They're all kind of vulnerable to taunt. Like, Vaporeon, like, sure, you have 1 of 10 special attack Scalds, and...
I mean, it's not even just about, like, being passive so that you can be taunted, but, like, you know, it's a lot easier to set up on this team. And, like, because you don't have the best speed, like, how do you revenge kill, right?
Yeah, you're relying on Salazzle, which can't really OHKO unboosted unless it's super effective. And even then, it's not a guarantee.
And it doesn't have, like, the best coverage to revenge kill, so, like... And then Durant, who misses 20% of the time. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I mean, at least Durant gives strong priority, but, like, it's not the most reliable mon. I think... I kind of understand why Durant is here, but I kind of don't. I think... Like, at least it and Corviknight do different things as steals. Which
I think Durant is a cool mon, like with Z. Yeah, I don't think Durant is the issue here. I just think like everything else is just too passive and too slow. This team kind of reminds me of Griffin's team, except you don't have the top 3 Griffin had. Griffin had like Zamazenta, Coco, Salamence. This one, like you have Calyrex, but then everything else is just more underwhelming than Griffin's team, and then your team is just even more passive and slower than Griffin's team, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, I feel like outside of Durant and Calyrex, everything here kind of needs to set up in order to start beating things. I guess T-Tar doesn't.
T-Tar is also pretty strong.
Yeah, it's pretty strong, but like I normally see in like a more of a support or like a sweeper role. Like when I think of T-Tar, it's like Div using it for like sacking it for getting rocks up 80% of the time, or
that is a Div classic.
True.
Like if he brings in T-Tar in on like your psychic type, like 9 times out of 10 he will not click a dark move, he will just click his rocks.
Pro gamer tip. Besides that, I feel like it's a little weak to knock off because like you got 2 Eviolite users here. Like but to be fair, T-Tar is a really good knock switching, and like you can make Homo a really good knock switching as well.
No, I think like really the main issue is really just like the passiveness of this team. Like setting up on this team is way too easy because you have things like Aromatisse, Vaporeon that like they're just going to Wish Protect, and then on the Protect you click like your Dragon Dance or whatever.
Yeah.
Then it's just hard for them to deal with it because again at +1 speed there's not much that can touch you after that.
Also, I just noticed that they don't have a Grass or Electric, so killing bulky waters outside of Toxic could be a massive pain in the ass. Because, like, you can check Calyrex Bulky Waters. Como is sort of checked, but you can cheese it being checked, Bulky Waters. Same thing with T-Tar, Salazzle, usually checked by Bulky Waters. Durant, I mean, you have Thunderfang, but that's like already inaccurate, and then you slap Hustle on top of that, and that's just bad.
Yeah. So like, this team is like, I think you can drop some of the like more defensive ones for more offensive ones. You don't need Duskclaws, Vaporeon, Claydol, Aromatisse, Porygon 2, Corviknight. You know what I mean? It's
like I would keep maybe like Corviknight P2 and Vaporeon, and then drop the other 3 for like different things. Get like an offensive fairy, get a grass type, and then I don't know, something else.
Yeah.
Also, in terms of removal, we got Corviknight.
Corviknight is amazing at removing hazards. So like even if you just had Corviknight, it would be fine. And then you have like Claydol, so I think in terms of removal, you're fine.
Yeah, I just think that Corviknight. I mean, I guess on this team's composition, you're not really expected to run. You're not going to run bulk up very often on Corv. But I still think that it does like having an open move slot, so it can.
I mean, if you want to bring like a more like setup oriented Corviknight or a more offensive one, like you can always just bring Claydol for removal, and it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I think get more offense and get a bulky water killer. I think those are the biggest complaints I would have with this team.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
Any other thoughts, comments?
Not really. I think that's pretty much it. This team is just too passive.
Yeah, which is kind of sad to say when you have a Calyrex.
Yeah.
Alright, let's move on to Banana and obligatory Banana bad. So he drafted Genesect, Megalop, Milotic, Nidoqueen, Latias, Whimsicott, Colossal, Galvantula, Obstagoon, and Regice. I'll be honest, I don't really know what to make of this. I mean, it's actually pretty fast. It's like you got Lava 135, and then Whimsicott, Galvantula, Lati, Genesect.
I can't see this team like struggle like breaking some like bulkier walls just because like something like Toxapex, right, has enough bulk to be able to take like 1 Earth Power from Nidoqueen, for example, if it's not like offensive. And knowing Banana, he'll pretty much always bring like your typical defensive Nidoqueen. Megalopon he doesn't hit the hardest, especially because you can run like a boosting item. Genesect is the main thing here, I think, that can hit really hard. And then you have like, I guess, Obstagoon and Genesect are the only 2 things, but
I mean, Nidoqueen can hit really hard, but I feel like more often than not you see it in a defensive role.
I also feel like Nidoqueen hits more hard like because of its coverage. So like, if there's something that you cannot hit super effectively, I feel like you will not be able to break through it, right?
But there's not many things Nidoqueen can't hit super effectively, because you have Bolt Beam, you have Flamethrower, you have Shadow Ball, you have
I mean, like, I'm thinking like, something like P2 can be just hard to deal with in general on this team, just because you don't have anything that hits really, really hard. Like,
for P2 you have Megalop.
Yeah, but then you have to go Megalop every time, and it can just teleport out, and P2 can check like pretty much everything besides Obstagoon and Megalop.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this team might struggle. It's more so because also because like I know like Banana, and I know how he plays, and he just plays really passively. So like against P2, he's less likely to go Megalop. He's more likely to like go into like Latias to like, because he's more afraid of like P2 dealing damage to him than like dealing damage to the P2. I don't know if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, he's the type of player where like he would have like a Scissor asleep in front of him, but then instead of attacking it, he would go into his Donphan just in case the Scissor wakes up. So
I think I really like this team. But I think Banana could have the same problems with it as he did Season 7, where he had Single Strike Ursh plus Mega Metagross, and he just didn't bring that offense very often for some reason. I could see something sort of similar happening, where I think this team has the potential to be pretty strong. It's just how he plays it.
Yeah, and like this team just has a lot of mons like Milotic, Latias, Whimsicott, even Galvantula, Colossal, and Regis that just don't hit the hardest. So like, again, breaking through really bulky Pokemons can be an issue.
Yeah, I think.
But besides that, I think like it's a strong draft.
I think another rocker would have been nice. Like Nidoqueen and Colossal are fine for hazards, but I think that it kind of forces, especially Nidoqueen, to be defensive more often, when I think he could really benefit from it being offensive.
Yeah, a flying resist outside of Colossal would have also been nice, because again, Colossal has exploitable 4-time weaknesses.
Yeah,
so
I
like,
agree with that.
Colossal being your only, you know how in the other division you had like Messiah, who had, I think he also had Genesect, and his team only had Colossal and Jolteon for flying types. This one has the same issue, except you don't even have the Jolteon to help you this time. So yeah, flying can be an issue.
Could be an issue. I'm trying to think of like anything else. I think, other than, I think this team has the potential to be really, like I've said it before, it has the potential to be really strong. It just depends on how it's played.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if we'll see it used to its optimal extent, or if Banana will end up falling back on Milotic and Latias too much for bulk.
Yeah.
I think if he could figure out a way to like get Latios instead of Latias, I think that could be helpful.
Yeah. I can see that, yeah. But I think Banana values Latias being able to like wish and things like that more than like Latios's power, unfortunately.
Yeah. I think like Latios is fine. I just think that something like Latios might have been better. Get rid of like drop Regis for something else, because I don't really know.
I mean, yeah, obviously having Latios over Latias would have been better. The mon is just better, right?
Yeah.
But
I just think that like Regis is also a little bit of a waste. Like I don't think it's not a
I mean, it's 3 points.
Useful.
It's like, I don't think that's the end of the world.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, but I think that like there's probably something better here.
Yeah, I guess there's also a lot of redundancy in like Regis, Latias, Nidoqueen, and Genesect, where like all of them can kind of fall into a trap of, I'm just going to bring like Bolt Beam, and then like none of them will be able to deal with like Spidef Porygon 2, for example. And like that can be an issue.
Yeah. Overall, I think it's a good team, but again, just depends on how it's played.
Yeah.
Sorry, Banana, for probably ripping into you a little bit much for that.
No, Banana bad. That's fine.
I guess, yeah. Alright, next up we have xpfcwintergreen. I'm not gonna say the whole name.
We'll just call him Wintergreen from now on.
Sure, let's go with that.
It's either Wintergreen or we call him XQC. You choose.
I don't know which is worse. So they drafted Tapu Koko, Celesteela, Giratina O, Nihilego, Infernape, Chansey, Mega Gyarados, Sandslash, Sceptile, and Charjabug. I am personally not a fan of pairing Koko and Celesteela together. I just don't think they have very good synergy.
Yeah, I don't think it's the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world, but like you're sending terrain up so Celesteela can die faster, and like Celesteela can beat grounds, but it's not like the end. It's not gonna destroy everything for Koko.
Yeah, no, I think the main issue here is like ground types can be really annoying. You have like a lot of your better ones, right? Tapu Koko and Nihilego and Infernape are weak to ground.
Yeah.
And then when you look at your ground resist, it's like Sceptile, who like no one cares about that. And then Celesteela, I think that can be like played around, right? You can try to like trigger a ring target, an Iron Ball. You can try setting up like a Gravity. You can try using like Smackdown on things that get that. So like, I guess it gives other people like a pretty easy game plan. Try to like cripple the Celesteela, and then my ground type goes in.
I just noticed that, like, I think this team kind of gets 6-0'd by Zygarde.
Yeah, and then, like, there's one Pokemon that doesn't even need to outplay the Celesteela. It has a ground move that just hits flying Pokemons. I guess...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think Giratina is a really good mon, but I don't think that it was built around the best here. I think all three.
I think it works well here. Tensei can make Giratina a real pain in the ass with Wish.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, and Giratina can absorb the knockoff. I guess, yeah, that's actually not too bad.
I just think my issue here...
The top three don't really, like... I feel like they all kind of want to do their own thing, but they don't really help each other a ton. I think mainly Celesteela is, like, the odd one out here.
I mean, I'm always a fan of shitting on Celesteela.
I like it, but I don't think this is the kind of team you want it on.
I think my main issue here is that Sceptile is your grass type, which is like useless. Like against ground, it's not the best, and then against like electric, right? You have terrain, but then your electric resists are also not the best. I mean, you have Giratina, which is nice, but then you have Scent Slash, which is kind of useless. Sceptile, which is bad. So like electric and ground can be like an issue because Sceptile is your grass type, and then I feel like Giratina will be pressured to do a lot because, like, honestly speaking, it's going to be your main, like, ground answer, probably. It's going to be your main electric answer, and then it's going to be your main, like, hazard remover, right? Because, like, your other option is Scent Slash. Like,
I think you could defog with Coco.
And remove your own terrain.
Yeah.
So I feel like Giratina will be pressured to do a ton here, so you won't be able to bring, like, offensive, like, I don't know, on the physical side as much as you want with Poltergeist, or you won't be able to bring like Calm Mind as often as you'd want, just because you're kind of forced to do a lot because your team struggles more against like ground, struggles more against like electric, struggles more again, with removing hazards.
Yeah, like I know when I drafted Giratina, I built around it very offensively, and because of that, it was like so. It was just Giratina was basically able to be a mid-game breaker that gets chip on everything, like spread status, spams hex, or it just was able to like fill out the niche that I needed to like break that one specific thing for something like what I had last season, like Galarian Zapdos or Mega Diancie, to just come in and win at the end.
Yeah, whereas I think if they had like a better grass type to relieve some pressure, like with ground types and electric types, and then like it may be another like good hazard remover, it would relieve a lot of pressure on Giratina.
Sorry, which mon were you talking about?
Giratina. Like I think if they drafted like a good grass type and removal, it would relieve a lot of pressure off of it. Yeah,
I agree. I think most of it is fine. It's just I don't think that they like. I don't know, I'm not really, like, I'm seeing bits and pieces of synergy here, but I'm not seeing, like, an overall, like, certified game plan that I completely understand that doesn't, like, put a ton of pressure on something to do something.
Yeah. Like, I can see, for example, like, they probably wanted Sceptile for Unburden with Coco. But, yeah, besides that, you don't have much that really can abuse, electric terrain, and then you have Infernape and Nihilego, which are cool, but then like they don't necessarily work together well, and then it just makes you weaker to ground. I think Mega Gara is gonna have to carry the team in terms of killing grounds, because basically everything else offensively besides like Sceptile, which isn't coming very often, is just kind of is walled by grounds. And when you have terrain that's making it 4 times weak to, when you're boosting its 4 times weakness even more, then I think it's really risky contingency for the team to work off of. Yeah. Yeah, your team doesn't appreciate your own terrain, which like can be an issue. I think I would probably get rid of. I don't like Celesteela here. I would probably get rid of Sandslash and Sceptile as well, and then get exchange those for like a grounded Steel type. I don't know what, maybe like Steelix. I don't know. And then get like maybe like Serena. I could see Serena being really good here. If you get rid of Sela to get a grounded Steel type, I feel like that just makes you even weaker to ground, though. Yeah. So I think right now you kind of have to keep Steel, otherwise like ground just becomes way too big of an issue.
I guess, yeah, I just don't think it works well with terrain.
Like, I think the main thing you want here is just a stronger grass type that can help with ground.
Yeah, I think that's the big takeaway here.
Yeah.
I think Nihilego and Fernip is kind of cool together, but again, they both need like a good they both need a good ground killer, and like I guess that's where Gera comes in, like I said previously. But again, you're in electric terrain. Gera doesn't really like electric terrain, so yeah. It's very risky.
Like something like Gliscor or Hippowdon would be really, really hard for this team to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Because like I think in general too, like once Gera is gone, or if there's something that like completely walls it, then like the opponent's ground type just comes in and just sits there, and this team doesn't really have much to beat it.
Yeah.
Any other
I still
thoughts?
think it can work. I still think this team can work well, though. You have good momentum options to like pivot around. You know, Volt Switch Coco, you can Infernate, Teleport, Chansey, so you can get Gyarados in easily. You can get Celesteela in if you want to. You can get Giratina in pretty easily. And like this team, like offensively, can still like pivot around pretty easily. So it's not the end of the world. It's not like you'll be forced to take a big EQ a lot of the time because like you're locked in with your Infernate, right? You can always just U-turn on the ground type coming in and then send in the Gyarados, so that's not the end of the world. I just wish maybe you use terrain more to your advantage rather than having it be more of a nuisance here.
Yeah, I agree. I think I can't really think of anything else to say about this team.
Really, what is Charger Bug doing? That is.
I think it's for webs. Yeah, it's here for webs.
Orbeetle would have been better, and Orbeetle would have given you a ground resist.
I guess, yeah, but Charger Bug is funny. So I gotta respect it.
Charger Bug
I
is
guess
also
it does
bad.
have slow Volt Switch. That is somewhat amusing.
Yeah. I don't know, I feel like Orbeetle would have just been better. And not Orbeetle, this Duttler. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, but it's not a boss.
I don't even know what it's supposed to be. It's something.
Alright, on that note, let's move on to Dalton's team. He has Magearna, Garchomp, Megagollade, Rotom Wash, Crobat, Chandelure, Umbreon, Alolan Ninetales, Regigigas, Shuckle, and Groddle. This team is scary. This team is very scary.
Magearna, Garchomp, Gallade gives you a really scary offensive core that not much can really switch into, and then like you have things like Rotom Wash and Crobat that have good pivoting option to get, you know, the threats in. Chandelure is a great Pokemon, hits hard. Umbreon I'm not a fan of, but you know, the rest of the team makes up for it. A lot of Ninetales bringing Veil support for this team is really nice. Magearna can have an easier time setting up, Garchomp can have an easier time setting up, Megagollade can have an easier time setting up. Regigigas, you're never bringing that, let's be honest. Shuckle can be abusable, and then Groddle is a Groddle. You won't bring that too much either.
Yeah.
My main issue with this team is that your rockers are like Garchomp and then it's Shuckle, Groddle. Shuckle, Groddle are not the best Pokemon. You know, they're easily abusable because they're pretty passive. You can sub on them, you can set up on them, and yes, Shuckle has Encore, but like if you just ton the Shuckle before it's over. So you might be forced to bring Rocks Garchomp more than you'd want, which is unfortunate. Because, you know, Garchomp obviously was made more expensive with Scale Shot, so you've paid that extra price to be able to have like a better offensive Garchomp. So if you're forced to bring rocks on it and bring a more support set or just have that move slot gone, it's just like unfortunate, I guess. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, it kind of like forces you to decide whether or not like you want to run SD or a coverage move on a skill shot set.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think the removal's a little tight with just Washdom and Crobat, but like they're both pretty good at it, so it's not the worst.
Yeah. Speed-wise, like revenge killing might be an issue, but then you have webs, so like you can deal around that.
Like Crobat's pretty fast as well.
Yeah, but
Crobat
like,
can usually pick off things.
Yeah, but like you don't necessarily want to run like a Scarf on Crobat, and like if you do, it's pretty weak. So again, if something gets a Dragon Dance, your best way to revenge kill it are going to be like Scarf Alone Ninetales and Scarf Garchomp probably.
Yeah, and like I don't think Scarf Chomp is that great anymore because of Scale Shot existing.
Yeah, so like revenge killing can be an issue, but it's like this is more so me like trying to find like small details where this team might struggle, because it's still a really strong team overall.
Yeah,
probably my favorite so far.
Yeah, I think it's my favorite as well. I think just the top 3 are insanely hard to prep for in the first place. Like just individually, you slap all 3 together, like, oh god, what am I gonna do? And then I think he built around them pretty well, aside from hazard setup. I think like having a spiker or just something that can more reliably get up rocks for that extra bit of chip, so it makes Chomp's almost OHKO into guaranteed OHKO, or same thing with Megurina or Mega Glade. Like just having that reliable bit of extra chip for this team would be amazing. But I don't really think Shuckle and Grotle will bring that.
Yeah, I think Shuckle and Grotle are just too easily exploitable to really bring them like consistently. So yeah. Besides that, it's a really good team, and like having to bring rocks on Garchomp is really not the end of the world. Garchomp is really good at that, and you don't rely on it for like offensive pressure. You have things like Megurina, Gallade, and like Chandelure that are all really scary offensively. Yeah. And then with Veil giving you an easier setup with Megurina and Mega Gallade, like you don't need setup Chomp or like offensive Chomp. A support Chomp is more than like great here.
Yeah, I think this is probably my favorite team so far as well. Alright, yeah. Anything else?
No, that was it.
Alright, let's move on to Bilbo's team. Bilbo drafted Cinderace, Libera Cinderace, Slowbro, Gliscor, Kartana, Mega Beedrill, Comfey, Magnezone, Alolan Persian, Glastrier, and Drampa. Aside from sniping me, this team just feels... It feels kind of weird to me. I don't know why.
It has a lot of, like... There's a lot of ways to, like, break past it pretty easily, I feel like. Like, you're only flying resisted Magnezone, right? So if, like, the flying type carries, like, HP, Ground, or EQ, that's an issue. Your only ground resist is Gliscor.
Yeah.
So if it carries HP, let's say it's like Landorus, it carries like HP Ice, or if it's like Mamoswine, you struggle against it a lot. The only rock resists are like Kartana and Magnezone. So again, if they have HP Fire for Kartana or a ground move for Magnezone, you're in trouble. There are like a lot of fire weaknesses, right? Like Kartana, Beedrill, Magnezone, Glacier, and even Alolan Persian if you're carrying like Fluffy. And then, like, your resist are Cinderace, which is not the bulkiest Pokemon, Drampa, which you won't bring that often, so, like, it's only really Slowbro.
Yeah. I think Glacier is a bit of a do-nothing mon here. I don't really see enough of, like, a Trick Room presence to warrant it. I mean, I guess, like, Trick Room Slowbro isn't the worst. I think Comfey gets it. Yeah, it does, but I think that both of them would rather be doing other things most of the time.
And then, like, your Dark Resist are Comfey and Persian, which are, like, not the best mon on your teams. You're not going to bring them too often, I feel like. So overall, it's just a lot of exploitable weaknesses. Yeah, this team is not as solid as it would want to, and I think a big part of that is due to, like, redundant typing between, like, Kartana and Magnezone, so then,
I think there's, like, more of a redundancy with, like, Kartana Beedrill, and that they both kind of want to do the same thing and be like a big physical breaker. But
I feel like because they're checked by different things, they're
both checked by steals.
Kartana has Sacred Sword, so I think Kartana is more so checked by flying types more often than not. Flying types, fire types. Beedrill is, like you said, more so checked by like steel types, but then Beedrill is also a pivot. You can U-turn, you can. Whereas Kartana can try to like sweep more often than not with SD or with just Scarf. So I don't think Kartana and Beedrill are that similar. I just feel like defensively, this team is just like pretty exploitable. you'll have to rely on Slowbro taking neutral hits a lot, I feel like, against like a strong Brave Bird.
I think the same thing applies to Gliscor.
Yeah.
Another thing too, speaking of Gliscor, it's his only rocker. It's his only source of hazard setup. Outside of like core change, which is pretty niche.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate because Gliscor you can do a lot more things with it. I think, like Taunt Toxic or like Sub Bruce Toxic could be like a lot more scary, but because you're kind of forced to bring rocks, that removes that option for you. And like, I feel like on Gliscor, because you want EQ, because you want Roost, and because you want rocks, it severely limits what you can bring, right? Because like if you want to bring Defog on it, then like that's it. You don't have anything to touch flying types. If you want to bring Toxic on it, then like you need to bring Defog on what? On Kartana? Or like core change on Cinderace.
Oh, I'm mistaken. I forgot Beedrill has T-Spikes, but that's not really like
yeah, but still, like I feel like Gliscor is just like it's too limiting for it. You want to do too many things, and then like Slowbro, you rely on it too much. You rely on it taking like neutral hit too much, right?
Because I think Slowbro, Gliscor are like forced to carry the almost the entire team. Then you have mons like Glacier and Drampa that don't really add much. Yeah,
and then offensively, I feel like this team can be like physically biased, because you're big. Like I guess your strongest Pokemons are like Cinderace, Kartana, Beedrill.
Yeah, all physical. Glacier is also physical. I think there's some cool ideas here, but I think that it's so over-reliant on Slowbro and Gliscor that it weighs down most of the goodwill the team has.
Yeah. And I'm not a big fan of this team, despite it having a lot of mons I like. Like Gliscor is a really cool Pokemon. Kartana, I love it. Cinderace is good. Slowbro is nice. I like Comfy, but not necessarily on this team. Magnezone is a cool Pokemon, but I don't see how it really helps this team. Glacier is just bad, and then yeah. I don't know. This is a
feels
weird
very disjointed.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next team then, which is mine. I'm gonna get roasted.
This is a terrible
I drafted Naganadel, Mega Scizor, Keldeo, Hydreigon, Alolan Marowak, Superior, Hatterene, Piloswine, Rotom Fan, and Lycanroc Day. The first thing I want to say is I got sniped a lot. Getting sniped with Comfy was really sad because it was right after me. And it would have been so good on my team. Oh my god.
Let me see. So one issue I guess I have with your team is, like a lot of the other teams like in this division so far, you have some like abusable weaknesses. Obviously, your only ghost resist is Hydreigon, so like let's say you're facing Gengar, it can just run like Dazzling Gleam.
Yeah.
Or if like you're facing Dragapult, like that thing is a bitch. The only rock resist is like what? Keldeo, which is not the bulkiest thing. So let's say you're facing Terrakion, right?
Yeah, Keldeo is like my only real
rock resist. Not even real. I think it is the only rock resist.
Wait, no.
No, rock doesn't resist rock.
I always think that.
That's not how it works, Hazy.
I always
but yeah,
forget
so let's
that.
say you're facing Terrakion, right? You're like, okay, Banded Stone Edge. My only switch in is Keldeo, but if it clicks CC, Keldeo's gone. And it's just like, well, 50-50, I guess.
Yeah.
So kind of like how Bilbo will rely a lot on Slowbro to take neutral hits. I feel like you will rely a lot on Scissor to take neutral hits.
Yeah, I think so too. This really is not
ideal.
I'm not like super happy with how this team came out. I think I just went in with it and went into the drafting phase with the wrong mindset in the first place, and then I never really like fixed it.
I think offensively this draft is really scary though. Naganadel, it's like, what do I need to say? It's a Naganadel.
Yeah, I think I had Naganadel Keldeo season 3, and I think these two work amazingly well together, especially now that Keldeo has Flip Turn.
Yeah. Hydreigon is scary. Alolan Marowak, that thing is insane. Serperior is scary. Hatterene is scary, and you gave it Z. So like I think offensively this team works pretty well together, and then you have a really good pivoting option. Obviously, you turn Naganadel, you turn Scissor, flip turn Keldeo, you turn Hydreigon, Volt Switch like Rodan Fan. So like nothing on your team is going to like absorb all the momentum, right? Like things that don't have momentum options like Marowak are going to just like get a free kill every time they come in. So I think that's a good thing. Like you'll just have to play more offensively than you'd like, probably.
Yeah, I think that I think the offensive part of my team is very strong. I think, but my defensive, I think I just need like a better defensive backbone, something that makes Scizor, that gives Scizor some leeway.
Yeah.
And not having to be bulky all the time.
Yeah, because here I can see Scissor be like borderline just forced to be defensive a lot of the time, just because what else is going to take a hit, right?
I mean, I can run like bulky Hydra and Hatterene can like take hits.
Yeah, but you know they don't necessarily appreciate it.
Piloswine, I guess, can, but it's not like it gets chipped down over time. Same thing to the lesser extent with Rotom.
I think what I would have liked here is like a big fire resist to help Scissor, because your fire resists are like you don't have any like mons that's super frail, but your fire resists are like, you know, Keldeo, which doesn't necessarily appreciate taking a hit, Hydreigon, which doesn't necessarily appreciate taking a hit, Marowak doesn't really appreciate taking a hit, so
yeah,
you don't
like my resists are there, but nothing is like sturdy, like super sturdy.
Yeah, let's say, I don't know, Blacephalon comes in, right? Like, a really strong fire type, you're kind of in a bad position already. Hydreigon will not necessarily appreciate, like, Specs overheat, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
but I don't think anyone drafted Blacephalon, so, like, you're fine.
Yeah, this team is not, like...
never mind, Team Cable did.
This is not one of the best drafts I've ever made, I think.
Yeah, you'll just have. I think you either have to like make FAs, or you'll have to play a lot, like really offensively and keep momentum with Scissor and Naganadel, Keldeo, because like if you never let the Bandit Terrakion come in for free, you're fine. You never have to switch into the Bandit Stone Edge, right? And I think your team has the tools to do that, right? Never let like Terrakion just come in for free. You have good momentum option again, and so yeah, you just have to play offensively.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem with the team, but other than, I don't think it's like awful, but it's definitely not the best team so far. I think that still goes to Dalton.
Yeah, I like the Megami team a lot.
Alright, next up is Div, who drafted Victini, Tornti, Rillaboom, Mega Diancie, Lantern, Drapion, Silvally, Kamala, Zygarde, and Passimian. I think he kind of has the same problem as I do, but just a bit worse, in that his bulky Mon that's kind of like his bulky Mon that is the glue for everything is like Lantern, and to a lesser extent Still Valley.
Tornti maybe, yeah, Tornti can take hits and, you know, be annoying with regen.
Yeah, but I think that like with now that it's not running AV as much anymore, so I think it's a little bit harder to say. I don't know.
I'm just really surprised Div drafted that, because I know he values rocks a lot, and then his only rocker is Mega Diancie.
Yeah, that was very surprising to me as well.
Like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, Diancie sure can set up rocks around me, but you don't want it to be your only rocker.
It sets up rocks by forcing a switch.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many other things that you want to do, right? Like, you want to bring Calm Mind, you want to bring Rock Polish, you want to bring Sub, you want to bring, I don't know, Draining Kiss. There's so many things you'd want to bring in Mega Diancie, and like kind of pigeonholing yourself into just being a rock setter is just kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree. I think this team is also has a pretty it has a physical bias for sure, because like your special attackers are Torn, Diancie, kind of.
Torn, Diancie, and Victini can all be really strong special attackers.
Yeah, but when I think of Victini, when you think of Victini, you think of V-Create.
Yeah, but like that's mostly depending on the team, right? If your team is more focused on the physical side.
I know Victini can basically do whatever the fuck it wants, but I just think like that
Blue Flare still.
I can see Victini, like I can see Victini not really clicking as many V-Creates as it normally does here.
Yeah.
Just to try and compensate for everything. Don't know what else to really. I don't know. Something about this just doesn't seem like right, like that fulfilling to me. I don't think it's a bad team.
I like this draft. There's a lot of ones I like. I think like my only real issue with it is that Tensei is the only rocker here. Besides that, this team obviously doesn't have like the best, like, I don't know, walls, but you don't necessarily need like, you know, a wall to take it. You can just play, you know, offensively. That's more than fine. And I think if there's one team that has the tools to do it, it's this one. I mean, Zygarde, Victini, Tornadus, Rillaboom, Diancie, Silvally can all be like really scary offensively. Most things here have momentum. I mean, U-turn Passimian, you know, Parting Shot Silvally, U-turn Victini, Tornadus, Rillaboom, like Will Switch Lantern. So, you know, this team is like, you know, it just keeps on moving, right? Like, you'll rarely be stuck. But yeah, you have so many good pivots. It's a shame you struggle like punishing your opponents, like also switching, right? Because your only rock setter is Diancie.
And like I think I don't think this is a bad team. I just there's just something off about it. I think it's mainly Torn. I really don't like this mod because of Hurricane, and it just never seems to work right for me.
Which one, Tornadus?
Yeah, Torn T.
I mean, hey, it's a 70% chance, right?
Yeah. I like Mega Diancie. I think... yeah. I think another thing, too, is that I feel like it's a little reliant on grassy terrain to not be super weak to ground. Like, I don't think it's like... It doesn't auto-lose to ground types, but I can see them...
Yeah, your main enters like Tornadus, Rillaboom, who don't necessarily want to take hits, but you have a Silvally, so it's hard to say that this team is really this typing or that typing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I'm just saying that, like, I could see it. I could see Div being forced to bring like Silvally Grass a lot, or Silvally.
Yeah, a lot of your better mons are weak to ground. I mean, Victini, Diancie, and then like Lantern, Drapion. You know. Yeah. So like, ground can be an issue, but like you can play around it like offensively pretty well. Rillaboom, no ground type appreciates like Rillaboom. So yeah. I mean, I like this team.
I don't really know why. I think it's just mainly it's just something that's off about it. I don't know why, but I don't think it's a bad team. I don't know. I've said that a lot before. All right. Moving on to Fish's team. He drafted Mamoswine, Primarina, Scizor, Incineroar, Regieleki, Amoonguss, Staraptor, Terrakion, Drifblim, Ariados, Megalodios. What to say about this team? It's a very Fish team in that he drafts things in a very unorthodox order. Gets a lot of mid-tier value first.
He really likes RU.
Yeah.
Like, you know, UU and RU, like, those are like Fish's tier. I know last season he had like the RU core of like Passimian, Slowking, like Incineroar. He really likes those kind of mons, and like again we can see those type of mons here. You know, Incineroar, Amoonguss, Mamoswine, Primarina, and all of these like UU RU mons. And then you have a Megalodios.
Yeah. I think that I like this team, but I could see Hazards being a little bit annoying because your only way to get it, like besides using Ariados, which is bad, really bad, you're getting Hazards up with forcing a switch with Mamo or Tarak, which isn't the worst, but I think they're mons that really like to click buttons, and Rocks is usually not one of them. I think the momentum between like Prim, Scizor, Incineroar, Regieleki is really nice.
I mean, that is a Fish team after all. I know he really likes his Volt turn. I guess my main issues here are going to be this team can be slow because like yes you have the fastest mon Regieleki, sure, but then you have Regieleki Terrakion and that's about it above 100.
You have Mega Latias is at 110.
Yeah, but Latias can't really run a choice scarf, so like
Yeah.
revenge killing something like Salamence after Dragon Dance, right? Or I don't know, a scarf plus Cephalon can be hard. And it's a lot of grounded Pokemon, so rocks are going to be annoying, spikes are going to be annoying. Even just ground moves in general can be annoying, right? Because a lot of your mons are grounded. I think.
Wait, he doesn't actually have a ground resist. Because
he has
Scizor's...
Staraptor and Latias. These are your only ground-like answers.
Yeah, Staraptor is barely a switch into things, unless you're running that weird, bulky Intimidate set.
Intimidate, yeah.
And then you have Latias.
I guess you have Drift Blimp too.
Yeah, I guess. But then, like, it shares a ghost and Darkwing because of Latias, so just run, like, knockoff or something, and then they're both taking decent chip.
Yeah, so I think this team can be weakened pretty easily, I guess.
Yeah.
And then, like, if rocks are up, a layer of spikes is up, and then, like, I don't know, something like Salamence gets a Dragon Dance, or, like, even something like Kyurem Black, which is not the fastest thing, it gets a Dragon Dance, like, you're in trouble. Revenge killing. I mean, you have strong priorities, right? Mamoswine, Ice Shard, Scissor, Bullet Punch, and then
Staraptor quick attack,
I guess. Yeah. Premium Aqua Jet if you want to do that. But, yeah, revenge killing can be an issue, and you'll have to rely a lot on your sort of URU defensive core to, like, play around threats.
Even then, it's mostly a pivot core.
Yeah, Incineroar, Amoonguss, like Scissor.
Like, they all come in, they take like 30 something from an attack, and then like they can take one more, and then they have to start healing, and then they like switch out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, taking hits can be like an issue here. A lot of things are can't really take ground hits. For example, flying is just like what Urance is, what Regieleki.
Yeah.
So I don't like. Yeah, like if you take like Div's Tornadus, right, it just clicks moves here.
Yeah, it really does. It's just like run Hurricane plus Dark Pulse, and then you just start killing things.
Yeah, like I don't know how you beat Div here. Like Tornadus is a pain in the ass, Zygarde is a pain in the ass because ground answers are like not the best. But yeah.
Yeah, I think like Amoonguss isn't bad, but I think if he had a ground resist instead of Amoonguss here, it would be better. I think Staraptor Drifloon are cool, but I think they might be a little unnecessary.
I mean, I like Staraptor. Drifloon, it's more so just you have 1 point and go ahead,
No, I'm not saying that Staraptor's bad by any means. I'm just saying that I think that maybe it could have been downgraded to something like Braviary, and then get something else to help out with like ground resist or another rocker that doesn't want to be clicking moves or clicking buttons.
Yeah, I think the best way to put it is because you've drafted this sort of like URU defensive core. You don't necessarily have like the bulk to take a big move from like a big OU threat like Tornadus, right? Or like big, like I'm looking at the next team. Mega Blaziken can be an issue too, right? Like just big hits are harder to take because you drafted a lot of like URU pivot, and like although they can keep momentum pretty well and they can like take on like resisted hit pretty well, they get weakened pretty easily, and then they don't necessarily appreciate like really strong hits like I don't know +2 Tornadus, Hurricane.
Speaking of the next team, do you want to move on?
Yeah.
Alright, so next team we have King K. Bool with Blacephalon, Mega Blaziken, Seismitoad, Slurpuff, Skarmory, Licky Licky, Rotom Frost, Hoopa, Yu, Ferroseed, Dragalge, and Crawdon. Why do you have both Blacephalon and Mega Blaziken?
Hey, they cover each other pretty well. Hey, Blacephalon baits in Dark, Normal, and Blaziken is just like, hello, it is I.
Yeah, but they also bait in Bulky Waters. And what's your Bulky Water killer here? Frost?
I mean, not that many Bulky Waters will appreciate Spike's Shadow Ball from Blacephalon or just Close Combat from Blaziken. So it's not the end of the world.
I don't know. It just seems this just seems kind of weird and counterintuitive.
Yeah,
to me.
it is like it is an odd bunch of Pokemons. I don't necessarily know how they work with each other necessarily. It feels really clunky, kind of like Queen's team, right? It's a lot of mons that are not bad. They just feel, it can feel kind of clunky.
Yeah. The defensive core is also really passive because you have Ferroseed, Licky Licky, Skarmory, Seismitoad can be passive as well.
Yeah, but see, I don't think a defensive core necessary here. You can just bring like Suicide Lead Slurpuff, Suicide Lead Skarmory, and then just go in with Blacephalon, Blaziken, Hoopon, Bound, Crawdon, Dragalge, right? It's a lot of mon that hit hard. So like, I feel like you'll kind of have to play really offensively out of every team, despite your team having things like Ferroseed, Licky Licky, Skarmory. Because they're more passive than anything, don't really have momentum option. Your best way to really bring in your threats is going to be like get rocks up, get spikes up with Skarmory, and then sack it so that Blaziken can come in for free, or so that Blacephalon can come in for free.
Yeah.
I know Fish would absolutely hate this team. Like the momentum options are just so limited here.
I mean, you have
Fish would hate this.
Dragalge, Rotom Frost, and Blaziken? I think that's it.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, yes. It's not the best, right?
Yeah, it really... this team, like, I'm sure there are ways that, like, this team can work, but I'm just not seeing it right now.
Yeah, this team kind of reminds me of my Season 1 team. My Season 1 team was also really clunky. Like, I had mons like Blaziken, Kartana, Hoopon, Bound, that, you know, didn't have momentum and didn't necessarily work with each other, but, like... if you play offensively, that can still win games, right? Because they're all scary in their own right. So, like, even if you have to, like, pretty much sack your Blacephalon, right? If you want to get something else in, Blacephalon can get some good damage in for you, weaken things so that Mega Blaziken can win in the back. Like, you know, you ask me, like, oh, what's your bulky water, like, killer, right? You might not necessarily have one here, but you know, let's say you have Vaporeon. Vaporeon has to switch into Crawdon, right? But then if you take that big knockoff, maybe you won't be able to take Shadow Ball from Blacephalon later on, or like close combat
I get what
Blaziken,
you
right?
mean. Like, its way of winning things is by spamming, just spamming powerful moves over and over again.
Yeah, you will have basically to brute force your way through things.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I think this team could also suffer from having like a pretty linear playstyle. Like, you just sack, like, you bring one of your defensive mons, Seismitoad, Slurpuff, Skarmory, Ferroseed, to go do something in the early game, sack them, get in a big hitter, keep on attacking with the big hitter until it dies, and rinse and repeat until you run out of, until someone runs out of mons.
My big issue with this team is no Z Blacephalon. Instead, they decided to Z Rotom and Dragalge. I don't know why. They even decided to Z Hoopon Bound. I feel like on this team, the best user is easily Blacephalon, and for some reasons, it's not Z. I feel like, especially because you have Web, something like a Calm Mind Blacephalon with Z would be such an easy way to, like, you know, brute force your way through things, and without giving it Z, you're really limiting your options.
Yeah.
Here. Like,
yeah,
what
I
is
agree.
Rotom going to do with Z?
I
like,
guess
how
you
often
get,
are you even bringing
an
that
accurate
thing?
Blizzard.
Yeah, but like, how often are you even bringing that thing? What is Dragalge going to do with Z, right? Like,
I think Dragalge just wants Specs or Black Sludge.
yeah, Specs or AV, Black Sludge. Yeah, like, what are you doing with Z, right? Sure, Z Sludge Wave Dragalge is the strongest poison move in the game. I'll give you that. But besides that, like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a waste not giving Blacephalon Z here. And
yeah, I can agree with that.
Like, as much as I'm trying to defend this team, saying it can work, it's probably my least favorite team here.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It just feels like maximum jank.
But hey, jank can work. My Season 1 team was jank too. I drafted round 5 Pyukumuku, and hey, everyone now knows about Pyukumuku.
God fucking damn it. Alright, let's move on to the next team, which is Pandora's, who drafted Dragapult, Greninja, Galarian Weezing, Rotom Heat, Excadrill, Tyranitar, Slowking, Verzion, Stoutland, Swoobat, and Clefairy. It's a good thing they made those changes, because if not, then I would have roasted this entire team for losing to Taunt.
See, I don't even know what the team looked like before.
If I remember correctly, they had like Mandibuzz, Blissey, Tapu Fini, basically a bunch of fat that put little to no offensive pressure outside of like Dragapult. Oh, they also had Mega Metagross. I guess it was literally just Dragapult, Mega Metagross plus fat.
Yeah, that could have been an issue, but hey, we're analyzing this team now.
Yeah, the sand.
I don't know what Clefairy is doing here, honestly. You have G-Weeze as a pretty decent fairy. Like, usually you draft Clefairy because you don't have a fairy and you're like, oh shit, I don't have points for a good fairy anymore, right? I don't know what Zubat is doing here, so like, I feel like, you know, that's 4 points that you could have used to get like a better fighting type than Virizion, for example.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, you drafted Sand, right? And Sand cores usually have like 3 big weaknesses. Fighting, water, and like
I think it's grass.
Fighting, water, and like grass, yeah. And here, like, and ground. No, not grass, ground.
Oh, okay.
Fighting, water, and ground. Your water resist here is like Slowking, so you have that covered. Slowking is pretty good at that. But then for ground, like, what, you're going to switch in Virizion with your 72 defense? Or like what, Zubat?
I guess like I guess they're levitating Mons, but then they're both weak to Thousand Arrows. The Zygarde is just like, hello.
Thousand Arrows will be annoying, and then like most ground types are going to have like Rock moves or Rotom Heat. Glare and Weezing doesn't necessarily want to always ring Levitate. It likes having more options, so like ground can be an issue, and then like, I guess fighting with G-Wiz, you have it covered too.
Yeah.
Besides that, I think this team is good. I like Sand, I like Excadrill, I like Southland. I've drafted these a lot. Dragapult is a good Pokemon. Glare and Weezing is a good Pokemon.
The Momentum is fine. Like Dragapult, Greninja, Rotom Heat are clicking Momentum often. Teleport Slowking is really good.
Yeah, my main issue is really just that, like, everything after Slucking doesn't do much, I feel like. And I feel like this team would have benefited from having better ground answers.
Yeah.
And having, like, just mods with reliable recovery would have been nice, because taking hits can, like, it's mostly just Slucking that can recover. Everything else gets whittled down.
Yeah,
Rocks
having, like, an actual
Wish
Passer would be pretty nice here.
Yeah, rocks can be annoying. You don't necessarily want to like Excadrill into always having to bring Rapid Spin.
I mean, G-Weeze and Rotom Heat are like okay defoggers. It's not the worst removal I've ever seen.
Yeah, Rotom Heat mainly. G-Wiz it's more of a like 50-50 because it just invites in a lot of steel types and like poison types and things like that. So like you need to be careful about that. But besides that, it's a good team. Like, you can't really go wrong with Sand plus Dragapult plus Protean Grind. Like, offensively, this team applies a lot of pressure. It's like the only thing that really bothers me is, again, like the bottom 4. I feel like they just don't do anything for your team. Oh, but not even bottom 4. Like Virizion, Zubat, and Clefairy. Like, I feel like they don't necessarily do much for you.
Yeah, I can see that. I think maybe like another flying killer couldn't hurt. Well, I guess you have like T-Tar and Rotom. That's fine actually. Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, I can't really think of much else to say with this team. I think with the trades now, with the team as it is, it's fine.
Yeah, it's a good team. The only thing I'd change is like Virizion, Zubat, Clefairy. Maybe try getting a better fighting type with Dragapult. And like, you know, just have more points like that are actually useful, I guess, because I just feel like Zubat Clefairy is a waste of 4 points that you could have used on Virizion to get a better fighting type.
Yeah.
Or a better like water resist, not pressure Slucking too much.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I can't think of anything else. You ready to move on?
Yeah.
Alright, so the next team is Darunia, who drafted Zamazenta Crowned, Single Strike Urshifu, Galarian Slowking, Moltres, Ferrothorn, Gligar, Jellicent, Heliolisk, Sylveon, and Swadloon. I like this team a lot.
Yeah.
I think I
So
know you suggested this stupid double fighting core.
fun fact: this season I wanted to draft a stupid core with Zamazenta, Urshifu, and Mega Medicham. Just because I thought it would be funny to have 3 fighting types, but then even if it's 3 fighting types, there's still nothing that you can't just be oh, I'll just bring my fairy and wall those 3 because then there's a Zamazenta, right? Your psychic type has to be worried about Urshifu. Your poison type has to be worried about Medicham. So they still cover each other pretty well despite being 3 fighting types. So as a joke, I wanted to draft that. It didn't work out for me. Round 1, Zamazenta was already gone. So when Darunia asked me what he wanted to draft, I said as a joke, he can draft my funny core, right? Especially because I know Banana, when I talked about it with Banana before the draft, he said something there is no way you get that, and I will snipe you if you try to get it. Yeah, he said something like that, and then I told Darunia yeah, that's what Banana said. So if you do get it, he's going to look dumb. And then he told me, oh, I do making Banana look dumb, so he went for it.
So the entire team exists just to make Banana, just to make Banana look dumb.
That is the whole reasoning. So Banana, look at this, he looked dumb now. After that, he drafted I guess more bulky Pokemon to support it. Galarian Slowking, Moltres for fighting resist for the first 2 is really nice. And then you have Ferrothorn, Gligar, which all gives you really good support option. You have Hazard, you have Hazard removal, you have fighting resist, ground immunities for the first 2. Jellicent, that's really annoying. Heliolisk, that gives you more speed. Sylveon gives you a good fairy type and wish pass for Zamazenta, and Swadloon for webs. I think overall this team is pretty solid.
Yeah.
I don't see any big flaws, I guess.
The Hazard being concentrated on probably the 2 most passive mons is a little unfortunate.
I mean,
but
that also means that these mons don't necessarily have options outside of setting hazards anyway, so you don't lose much.
Yeah,
and they can all be annoying in their own right. It's
not like they're in a bad defensive course, because Glowking, Moltres, Jellicent, and Sylveon can all support them decently well.
And you say the 2 most passive ones, but Ferrothorn and Gligar can all be annoying in their own right. Ferrothorn has a high attack
Ferrothorn
stat.
isn't even. I wouldn't even say Ferrothorn is that passive.
Yeah, and you have strong
Gligar
moves.
is sort of passive, but even that has U-turn, so it's not.
Gligar can be passive, but yeah, it has knockoff U-turn.
It has utility.
It's not easily abusable, but because let's say you want to bring in something set up, it just U-turns on you. You're just well, I wasted a turn and I took some chip, right?
Yeah.
I think overall this team is pretty solid. There's not much else I want to say. It can feel a bit slow, but then you have webs to help with it.
And I think he also has decent Scarfers with Heliolisk and Ursh.
Yeah, but Urshifu is on this slower side, below 100, right? So you can't revenge kill things. Again, I use this example a lot, but just DD Salamence, right? Or Scarred Victini, base 100,
Yeah, I think this
things
team
like
has
Mew after DD.
Enough bulk to where enough bulk that can that isn't passive, that can somewhat deal with that. You can strength sap spam with Jellicent. Sylveon hits pretty hard with Hyper Voice.
Yeah, and I think you have really good momentum options to get in Urshifu and Zamazenta in as much as you'd want. And I like the small synergy besides Zamazenta and Urshifu, where Urshifu baits in fairy types, but if he just U-turns on them and goes Zamazenta, then Zamazenta can get a free sub or a free howl, or and then Zamazenta can struggle with things like Slowbro, things I don't know, basically everything Zamazenta would struggle with, Bandit Wicked Bow can just break past those. So you have this nice sort of synergy, and then you'd think that a team with those 2 would be physically biased, but then in the back you have things like Moltres, Glowking, Heliolisk, Sylveon. So I don't know. I just think overall it's a pretty well-rounded team. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, I would say it's probably one of my favorite teams. I think.
Yeah.
I like it more than Dalton's, but I think Dalton has the better team overall.
Yeah, I think Dalton's team is more solid, for sure.
Alright, let's move on to the last team, which is Honch's team. He drafted Huron Black, Zeraora, Ashgren, Florges, Jirachi, Arcanine, Decidueye, Mudsdale, Tauros, Golbat, and Swirlix. This team just got haunched. Like,
You think so?
I think not as bad as like when he
Yeah, I
did
feel like
that
it's less of a hunch team than like the one like
where he got
with,
like packs with like Coco Genesect.
yeah. That was just sad. Like,
Yeah.
last time he drafted Coco Genesect Megalopunny, it was looking like such a threatening team, and he follows up with like Toxapex, and then like it just goes downhill from there. I think, like even in the lower half of this team, you still have a lot of strong mons.
Yeah.
Jirachi, Arcanine, Tauros can be cool.
Yeah, like I think this is like one of the times that a team got haunched the least. I don't know. I just like saying that because it's funny.
Yeah, I like this team. KB, Zeraora, Ashgren is a really solid like offensive trio.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Might struggle against some bulky fairies, maybe, but like it's really not that big of an issue. Like Zeraora has Z. Yeah, Zeraora has Z. You have a Jirachi. You have an Arcanine that can help pivot. Yeah, this team is just solid. I just don't know why Honch went with 11 months. I feel like he could have had like 10 months and then kind of, you know, make things like stronger overall, because you have things like the Decidueye, Mudsdale, Tauros, Golbat, where you're not too sure why they're there, right?
I think like this Decidueye and Golbat are there because like without it, his removal would be literally Florges.
Yeah, but then like, you know, Golbat is not the best Pokemon.
Yeah.
And yeah. I think the only real issue I have with this team is ground can be a big issue, because your answers are Decidueye, which is not the bulkiest thing, Golbat, which is not the best Pokemon, and that can be weak to like knockoff. So like, yeah, ground types like, can be an issue.
Mudsdale's an okay switching, at least for physical, but like it still gets chipped down.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, because a lot of your good mons are weak to ground, you know, Zera, Jirachi, Arcanine, you would want like a really solid like ground resist, right? But you don't have that. You have like the Decidueye and like Golbat, which are like more shaky, I guess. Especially because Golbat cannot really run boots. You want to Eviolite most of the time, so you will take the 25% from rocks.
Yeah.
So like, defensively this team can struggle, but like, again, you need to get in your ground type in safely, right? Against Kyurem Black, Ashgren, Zeraora. So like, good luck.
It's not.
I really like this team.
I think this team is pretty good as well. I just don't really like a lot of the mons on it. I love Kyurem.
Yeah.
I think Zera's pretty cool. I don't really like Ashgren. I don't like Florges. I don't like Jirachi. I don't like Arcanine. Decidueye's, and then the rest of them,
well,
like,
that's more of a you problem.
Yeah, I know, it's mostly a me problem. I just don't like a lot of the mons on this team, personally. But I can't deny that, like, there is synergy here. It's just
I think this team is just like a trademark, like, hunch draft in a lot of aspect. Like, you have like two polar opposite between like his bulk and his offense. His offense is always really threatening, and then like his bulk just becomes a lot more passive. Like his signature core is like Coco, Mega Medicham, and then Skarmory Umbreon, right? Like,
yeah.
I think this team like is a lot less extreme than what he's done in the past, because even your bulkier Pokemon can be
like
not that passive.
They do decent chip, at least.
Yeah, but then they're also like just less good at taking hits, right? Your ground answers are Decidueye, Golbat, for example, right?
Yeah.
Your ghost answer is like Tauros, Ashgren.
Yeah,
like
those aren't really switch-ins.
If you're able to like kind of not just die against this team and like you have some sort of counterplay and you get to like also fire off big hits, I can see Honch's team maybe struggle with taking those set hits, but like it's going to be really hard. Good luck against Kirim, Zera, Ashgren, Jirachi.
I think this is a bit like Banana's team, where it's the potential for this team to do really well is there. It's just dependent on.
It's dependent on how you play with it.
Yeah, it's on how you play with it. Because like I think this team could be anywhere from like a 9-2 team to like 4-7. I don't know. I'm just
similarly to your draft. I think this team is. You'll have to play a lot more offensively because, like, when it comes to taking a hit, obviously it's not the best. I don't think it's a bad team because of that. Just because if you play this offensively, you won't have to take those hits. This team has a lot of offensive pressure, so you won't have to take those hits. You just need to play this offensively.
It's not the easiest team to play with, but I think it could be very rewarding if you can get it to work.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's still probably one of my favorite teams here. Like, if I have to give my top 3, it would probably be Dalton, this one, and like Darunia's team.
Yeah, I would say for me it would probably be Dalton's, Darunia's, and probably either like Bananas or Honch's. I think the thing of like Banana's team is like it has more mons that I would see myself using.
Yeah.
But like, again, it's hard to judge. I think a lot of these teams are a lot like closer side from like Dalton and Darunia's teams. I don't really think there's anything that like stands out. I think the teams are a lot more closely matched rather.
Yeah. I think like besides my top 3, the other teams that I would put like closely behind would probably like Pandora and like Div maybe. Div just needs to get another rocker. Like that's all I'm asking. Please, Div. Please.
Before he never
something else, not just Mega Dynasty. Like
and you get another rocker and like doesn't draft another rocker.
Like you get another rocker. This team is top 3. Like you can't just get away with just Mega Dynasty. That's not how it works. And yeah, that's my thought. These are my thoughts on the bad division, slow division. Yes, I will go back to this.
You forgot about this the entire video. I can't really think of much else to say besides Kevin bad and my team bad. More importantly, Kevin bad. That's the real takeaway from this.
Wait, no. The big takeaway is Banana bad, and Banana looks dumb because Darunia managed to drop Zambas and Tanner Shifu.
True. I forgot about that. I don't know how I forgot about that. On that note, we should probably end this. So
what time? How long is it? Just out of curiosity.
It's gonna be over. It's over an hour. Let's go.
Well, we failed this hour. Oh well.
Let's go.
If anyone listened like through this whole thing, thank you, I guess. I don't know why you did this. This is just me and Hazy being like dumb in VC, but hey, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for listening.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below what you thought about
Turn on
this.
the notification bell and sacrifice your firstborn child to me for more daily uploads.
Yes, and don't forget to subscribe to Hazy's Patreon and his OnlyFans, and I don't know, use your Twitch Prime on his Twitch channel. There we go. Is that it? Oh, don't buy the merch. Yes, buy the merch, and that's it. Oh, you should put the Jackbox merch link in the description.
Oh my god.
Yeah, buy the merch down below, and yeah, thank you. And that's it.